So the Sharks have just pulled off a last-minute victory in the Currie Cup final over the home side, the Lions, and it was an epic contest. Halftime came around and neither side had scored a single point in this fixture, but in the end, separated by the 2 points and a last-minute kick from Jordan Hendrickse to help the Sharks get themselves the victory. But in this review, we're going to be looking through at who the try scorers were, what the stats were throughout this contest as well, and also what is next for these two sides. At the end of the day, the URC, it is going to be next week for both of these sides. But starting off, like I said, it was 0-0 at halftime. Neither side being able to budge through the defensive line. Sia Masuku, the only chance of scoring throughout that first half out of any player, missed the drop kick and also missed a kick in the second half, which I think is why we did see Jordan Hendrickse later on in the contest step up and start taking those kicks, and tell you what, they'll be very happy that he did with that last minute kick that he was able to nail. But in terms of the try scorers, we saw Ethan Hooker score for the Sharks. He scored the first try of the fixture in the 51st minute, and then we didn't have to wait too long until we saw the next try being scored. That one was by Nico Stain, the Lions halfback, answering straight back for the favourites. Then there was one more try in this game. It was Sebabalo Kwama who was able to score it. He also had a massive turnover near the end of the game, but even though he had some really strong moments, it just wasn't quite enough to help the Lions get over the line. Now, there was a situation that happened, and it ended up being an extremely important one. The Lions won themselves a penalty. They kicked the ball into touch. Then there was the line out, and all the Lions had to do was retain that line out, kick the ball into touch, and call themselves Currie Cup champions. Seemed simple. At the time, they decided instead to go for a rolling maul, because in their eyes, there was nothing that could go wrong. At the end of the day, if the Sharks pulled it down, they'd have the penalty advantage. They would then be able to kick that ball into touch. If the Sharks managed to sack it legally, then the ball would be tracked into the game. But that did not happen. The ball somehow, miraculously, popped out on the side of the Sharks, and then it was play on. The Sharks winning a penalty 59 metres out from the post. Hendrickse stepped up, said, "I will take that one on," and slotted it straight down the middle. So it was quite the epic finish to what had been an extremely close game all throughout the 80 minutes. But to have it finish in that fashion, to have the underdogs, the Sharks, manage to pull it off, was quite something, and a final that a lot of people will remember for quite some time. But the thing is, these two sides do not get much of a break. Yes, they do in terms of their Currie Cup teams, but the URC is straight back into action next week. And we are going to get to see the Lions and the Sharks in action. A few of these guys actually shuffling between the teams. The likes of a Jordan Hendrickse playing at 15 for the Sharks in this game. We've got to remember, he was playing for the Lions in the URC last year. So, of course, as big of a moment as it was for him to be able to win one side the game, that was also up against most of his teammates. So that one would hurt a little bit, but it was just a phenomenal kick, and overall just a really entertaining game of rugby. I know that some people were a bit disappointed that we didn't see a huge amount of points scored throughout this game, but I still really enjoyed it, even though it was taking place at like 3 a.m. New Zealand time. The Sharks had a lot of stats in their favour throughout the 80 minutes though. They had 628 metres gained compared to the 282 that the Lions were able to get for themselves. They had 9 clean breaks. The Sharks, they missed 8 tackles and they made 103. The Lions, they missed 33 tackles and they made 150. So theoretically, when you're looking through at the stats for this game, you would have to argue that the Sharks, on paper, were the stronger side. They had more territory, they had more possession, they just couldn't quite get those tries on the board that they were definitely after. Having someone like an Andre Esterhuizen, those seem to be a very strong option for the Sharks, using him as the battering ram, and then also some nice skill from Ethan Hooker, like I mentioned, to score himself a try alongside a couple handy Tachuka brothers. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. It was an epic game to call, and of course, we will be looking forward to the URC next week, where we will also be doing the commentary on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next one.